We have been waiting long and patiently for Netflix to gift us with a second season of Mindhunter, and we finally have it. If you haven't already been sold on this show, let me do it for you. Mindhunter focuses on the beginning of the behavioral science unit at the FBI in the late 1970s as agents begin interviewing convicted murderers to help track their contemporaries. It is fascinating stuff. Now, I know that the television has been inundated with police procedurals over the last 20 plus years, and I'm the type of viewer that just cannot do the universe of CSI bullshit. I just have no interest in any of that basic network television. But Mindhunter takes its subject matter and cuts deep in just the right way. It isn't just the true crime aspect of this show, because plenty is fictionalized for sure. But there is some serious weight to this show, especially the way it handles its story and its subject matter in such a real and authentic way. I'm just gonna come right out and say it. I love Mindhunter. I think the season was great. I think it might even be better than season one. I'm just not sure. I really want to watch it again though. That's weird, and I didn't even rewatch season one. So I want to touch on the fact that this is based heavily in a lot of true crime. We've had a lot of discussions this year about what really works as far as entertaining true crime and what is glorifying stuff that should not be glorified. And I wouldn't even say that this show like rides a line. No, it very firmly is like, this is not to be glorified. These people are monsters. They're also human beings. It's very interesting. It's fascinating. That's all you can say about this show. Is it's absolutely fascinating the way there is this straightforward approach to just the biggest monsters in this world, and at the end of the day, they're still people. It's fantastic. Now, I'm really happy that season 2 plays out the way that it does, because I heard that there were going to be a couple of different cases thrown around. I tried to stay away from all information, didn't even watch a trailer. I just heard that there were different cases happening, and I was like, I don't know if any of this is true, and I don't know. We'll see. I just dove right into the season 2. While we do not get closure on BTK, which we should have known, hello, we're not going to get closure on BTK until the end. It's so interesting to still see all of the weird little scenes, just like in season 1, how he just pops up and you're like, who the fuck is this guy? That stuff really creeped me the hell out in season 1. We have that on steroids in season 2. The progression is just great, but the real story is so very good. I just love the way the drama plays out in this show, because I am so sick of seeing show after show after show do the same damn thing where we need to throw in conflict. So someone sleeps with someone's sibling, and then there's a baby and a love triangle, and it's a problem, and they're just jumping back and forth. I see the same plot lines played out in all of the same shows, and I was really worried how this season was going to play out, especially right from the beginning. No spoilers, I'm not going to get into anything that you wouldn't want to hear. Right from the beginning, the behavioral science unit has a new boss, and I just really had this feeling, oh no, here we go. I figured we were going to have this slimy character that just constantly puts up roadblocks for our main characters and just stalls the show whenever things are about to get good in order to add some unnecessary drama. But no, it's actually really quite interesting. We have this new boss comes in, and he really wants to help grow the unit, but he also wants to make sure that they're doing everything exactly as they should. We have to remember the character Holden in season 1 fudged some information that comes back to haunt him in this season, and so the new boss just wants everything to be running just right. He really wants to see the unit progress as much as possible. And that's great, because we have very natural roadblocks that come into play instead of forced crap. One of the things that I really enjoyed that this show focused on is how even in an emergency, when you think, oh, even the FBI, they should have clearance to just handle things. However, there's so much red tape to cross and papers to file and permits to get and things like that. You see how difficult every step is for these people, and there's so much more to it than just saying, hey, I think we have a suspect, we're just gonna charge right in there and, take him in. There's so much work for them to do. I think all of the characters have really good personal issues for their own subplot stories that fit into everything. It really just highlights the way that they feel when they are at work in the scenes that we're really there for. You'd think we'd be bogged down with any of their subplots, but actually, they all really enrich the story. But I'll get into that in a little bit with each of the characters. The plot progression is just so good, because we do start with one investigation, and as we gather information, it kind of springs to here, and then this big new thing comes into play. And I did not at all feel as if there was way too much thrown at us. It just felt very real, and how you discover clues and dig deeper and discover a lot more problems that need to be solved. And it worked very organically. Also, of course, the interviews are still one of the highlights of the show. I don't think that they're as good as season 1, because season 1 was really focused solely on those. I think we have a lot more going on in the investigations that especially Holden is involved in. But the interviews that some of the other characters do are still so very fascinating because they're so disturbing. Everyone's going to be, I know, looking out for the Charles Manson interview. I've heard some people say that that was sort of the peak of the show. I actually thought that was the weakest interview, but hearing about other killers committing the terrible acts that they did are just so interesting. They're all of the guest actors that come on to play. They're so good. I think there was maybe one or two that just like weren't as good as the rest, but all of them are like, whoa, like damn. None of them are good as Cameron Britton as Ed Kemper from season 1, and thank God we get him for a little bit. But I would have liked more Ed Kemper. I feel really disturbed even just saying that. But as far as the show is concerned, as a character in a show, the actor is just so great that it worked. But none of the other real-life serial killer turned characters are really at that level. However, I really think that the investigations in the show are the real meat of this season 2, and that's where it gets good. Now I want to talk about all of the characters, because our 3 main leads, Holden Ford, Bill Tench, and Wendy Carr, still top-notch characters, being performed so well, in a great story. I want to watch this again, I'm telling you, it's that good. Bill Tench is played by Holt McCallany, who really takes over this show. He really picks up this entire show and carries it on his broad fucking shoulders with no problem. If you had told me Bill was gonna take over Holden as the main character, at first I would have been like, you know, honestly, I just feel like that's gonna feel like just about every other police procedural, because Bill is the straight arrow type who's got the experience, who's just like, we're doing things right, and that's how it's gonna be. And Holden is the one that's like, I'm gonna talk to serial killers like serial killers because that's how I get information. And it's weird and it's crazy, but that's kind of what makes him interesting. However, I have to say, McCallany does such a good job of taking over this show. Bill Tench is a very enriched character. I do think that his subplot of his story is a little too much, but it was only minorly distracting. The way that it was executed pulled me right back into the show. But again, the acting is just so good. It just worked. There are even scenes that just feel like I would consider them basic in just about anything else. Like, again, no spoiler, but there's a scene where at the end of the day, Bill Tench sits down on his couch at home and drinks a beer and smokes a cigarette, and that sounds on paper like very basic. The way it plays, you feel the weight that he's just like releasing. It's so effective. And while I'm talking about the character of Bill Tench, I also have to mention the standout Stacey Roca, who plays his wife Nancy. She was great. She's certainly given more to do, and she's arguably not likable. And it's very interesting yet understandable the way that their subplot plays out. Now, Wendy Carr, played by Anna Torv, phenomenal. She is so good. I don't know her from anything else, but I think she is incredible in this show. I thought she was a real standout in season 1. I'm so happy to see that she is right up there with McCallany and Groff. Like, she's right there. This show is led by the 3 of them, 100%. And of course, her character is really sidelined in this show. That's the one sort of dick move that we get from this boss. I mean, I guess there might be a couple, but like the main one is just that he doesn't really want Wendy to step outside of her comfort zone, and she really wants to get into doing the interviews. And he's like, you can write up the reports. And it's kind of like, ooh, that sucks. I don't know. This is a little touchy for me. Again, it's one where I could have felt like this wasn't going to work as a subplot, but I think the way it was executed, it came around and worked. Wendy starts a relationship with a bartender. Now, I know the real woman that inspired this character was, I believe, just a married woman with kids that like her life was being taken away from her family because she was focused on this, and in this show it's a single lesbian in the late 70s, which I really wasn't sure how that would work. At first I was like, is this going to be a little pandering? I don't know. I mean, I'm all for the representation anywhere I can get it, but I wasn't sure how it was going to play out, especially once I saw, oh, we're seeing now this relationship form with a bartender she meets at the beginning of season 2, and it's the execution. Again, it's the acting. Lauren Glazer plays Kay Mans, the bartender, and Mans and Torv have pretty good chemistry. They really make it work. There's even a scene towards the end, I don't want to spoil anything again, as I keep saying. It's incredible the way that this show can make you see different perspectives at the same time, in the same moment. There's one scene that is both crushing and kind of uplifting / inspiring, but like, ooh, man, you just see two sides of the same story. This is what shows should be doing. This is why I'm subscribed to Netflix. My interest has been waning on Netflix recently, and like, they better have a season 3, otherwise I'm done. I'm sick of them canceling all the good shows. Now I want to wrap it up with Holden Ford. I've saved Jonathan Groff's character for last because his character really takes a back seat. And again, if you had told me that before I watched the show, I may have been a little disappointed. But this actually works very well in the show's favor. Jonathan Groff is still his adorable self. I forgot to mention this. We pick up right after season 1, whereas he is in his anxiety attack. He's now in the psych ward and he's getting out, and he is having a time of it. He's not supposed to stress himself out. He starts popping Valiums. I thought he was gonna go full drug addict and it was gonna be really annoying. But again, so organically well executed, the way that it should be. And it really works that Holden Ford is in the background this season, because not only does it allow the other characters to shine, but it just feels like what's right. Everything about him, it does feel like he would end up on this different path. I was very, very happy with the way that the show progressed. I believe it's episode 3 where Holden meets the hotel clerk, and you're wondering what's going to happen, and as things progress, I just went, oh, that's good. Oh, that is good. Oh, I'm so excited. And I was so excited to go on that journey as opposed to where we started, which I just think, again, really hammers down how well this show is executed. A lot of the things that I think could have easily been basic or lame or, oh no, you're distracting me from what I really wanted to see. Why are you doing that? Get back on track. No, this works so well because it is executed so well. The first 3 episodes are directed by David Fincher, and you can definitely tell. In the end, I initially thought, oh no, only 9 episodes as opposed to 10. What's going to happen? Is that not going to work? One, each episode is really as long as it needs to be, which is good, and the season as a whole is. 9 episodes was exactly right. It ended at the right place. It's a tough moment to end on, but it still only really needed 9 episodes. They didn't need to stretch it. It's just right. I am begging for a season 3. I need a season 3. I hear there's a 5-season plan. I need all 5 seasons. This is easily the best show that I've seen on TV all year. It's probably the best show I've seen on TV since season 1 of Mindhunter. While I say, oh, I think I like it more than season 1, it isn't necessarily that one needs to be better than the other. Most first seasons are great, and that's why I continue the show. This show really happens to just elevate at just the right, it just continues forward as it needs to. It's just so damn good. Oh, I just love this show. Yeah, I'm giving Mindhunter a 4.5 out of 5. It is just like a shade below perfect. There are things that slightly pulled me out of it, but then I was sucked back in, so I can't exactly say it was perfect, but ooh, did it get me. What did you guys think of Mindhunter Season 2? What do you want from Season 3? I want them to do the Green River Killer. I want there to be focus on that in Season 3. I know we're not going to wrap BTK up until the end, obviously. We're just going to keep seeing his creepy ass pop up throughout forever. Oh my god. So creepy, those scenes. The mask, oh my god. So yeah, what did you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Like this video, share it with your friends, and subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in my next video.